Hey, folks, welcome to the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network podcast. I'm your host, Lewis Carlin. We're heard right here on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Are you looking for great wrestling apparel? You need to head on over to ringloyals.com. Ringloyals.com, they got t-shirts, they got hoodies, they got accessories. Ringloyals.com, your wrestling apparel company, ringloyals.com. Okay, before we get started, I do have a shout out I'd like to make to one of our newest subscribers to our YouTube channel. Sebastian Brown, thank you very much for subscribing to the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network YouTube channel. Sebastian Brown, thank you very much. Very grateful, very appreciative. Sebastian Brown, thank you very much. Okay, so Scott D'Amore. Scott D'Amore wants AEW women in Impact Wrestling. He wants that forbidden door. He wants women to walk through that forbidden door. He was on Vicky Guerrero's Excuse Me podcast. And it says here, this is Fightful.com, Scott D'Amore stated that he is ready for some interpromotional action between women, between AEW and Impact Wrestling women, and even claimed that Britt Baker, the AEW Women's World Champion, has already asked him when she will get to face the Impact Wrestling Knockouts Champion, Deonna Purrazzo, for bragging rights. Scott D'Amore, talking on the podcast, says that's a great question. And look, I get it tweeted out at me and everything all the time. All I can say is, from our perspective, look, I got cornered by Britt Baker down in Jacksonville a few weeks ago, and she's like, when do I get Deonna? That's a question I would like to know too. When is she going to get Deonna? I would love to see that match, and everybody would love to see that match. And Scott D'Amore responded, "Hey, Britt, oh, come on. We've always said we have an open door policy, and we're open to doing it. You know the deal. In wrestling, sometimes there's a lot of hurdles to jump through, but I think the relationship with the AEW has been fantastic." And then Scott D'Amore continuing, "I think Tony Khan is a breath of fresh air in many ways in the wrestling industry, and it's just been great to deal with a person who's in a different company where there's honesty and transparency, and it's like, hey, let's do that. You know why? Because that's cool. We share a vision for a world like that, and I love to see it because, I mean, whether it's Nyla Rose or whether it's some of the many other talents that they have there. Imagine if Nyla came in and hid under the ring and laid out Deonna Purrazzo and picked up the title. Right. That would be fantastic. So Scott D'Amore is all for it. Scott D'Amore wants that women to walk through that forbidden door. I want women to walk through the forbidden door. I want to see Britt Baker against Deonna Purrazzo. I did a podcast yesterday indicating, what if could Britt Baker be the mystery opponent for Deonna Purrazzo? I think that would be just fantastic. And if it's not Britt Baker, let it be a Nyla Rose. Let it be a Tay Conte. Let it be Hikaru Shida. Let it be somebody from Hikaru Shida. Sorry, I think I pronounced that wrong. But let it be somebody from AEW. I think it would be just fantastic. I mean, we need with this partnership between Impact Wrestling and AEW, the relationship, we need a breath of fresh air right now, because all we're getting is Kenny Omega, the Good Brothers, Kenny Omega, the Good Brothers, Kenny Omega, the Good Brothers. That's all we're getting. We need a breath of fresh air in this relationship, and I think women walking through that door will be absolutely fantastic. Deonna Purrazzo showing up on Dynamite, wow. Kimberly shows up on Dynamite, Rosemary shows up on Dynamite, goes after Abaddon, would be just fantastic. If Britt Baker shows up and goes after Rosemary, goes after Kimberly, goes after Fire and Flavor, goes after somebody in Impact Wrestling, will be fantastic. Tay Conti showing up on Impact Wrestling, getting in Deonna Purrazzo's face and saying she wants a shot at the title would be just fantastic. Let's do it. Scott D'Amore wants to do it. Tony Khan, what are you waiting for? Let's do. Scott D'Amore says that Tony Khan is easy to work with. He does stuff because he thinks it's cool. This is cool. This is cool stuff. Let's do it. What's the holdup? The fans want to see it. This would be just fantastic. Let's get it done. Let's do it. I mean, what's keeping him? I mean, like he's like Scott D'Amore said, what if Nyla Rose was under the ring after Deonna Purrazzo defeats her mystery opponent, whoever it may be, and attacks Deonna Purrazzo, lays her out, and then holds up the Impact Wrestling Knockouts title? How cool would that be? Or even if Tay Conti does that, how cool would that be? What if Britt Baker defends her title on Dynamite, and that she's successful, and Rosemary shows up. Rosemary shows up, or even Kimberly shows up, and takes her out and holds up the title. How cool would that be? If Kiera Hogan and Fire Flavor showed up and went after a couple of women in AEW, how cool would that be? That would be so freaking cool. Let's just get it done. What are they waiting for? I mean, he says there's hoops they gotta jump through and stuff. Like what hoops? Tony, do you want to do an interpromotional match between AEW Women Talent and Impact Wrestling Impact Talent, Impact Wrestling Talent? Yes, let's do it. Okay, let's do it. What hoops do they have to jump through? I don't get it. Is it they're working together? They have to just agree on it. It's just it's cool. Let's do it. Let's get it done. Scott D'Amore, he's pushing for it, and let's come on. I mean, it's been long enough. Again, the partnership is becoming a little stale. As I mentioned earlier, it's Kenny Omega, Good Brothers. That's all we're seeing. Let's get the women involved. Let's do it. This could really be good, and let's have. Like, I'm surprised that Sami Callihan hasn't showed up on Dynamite. I'm surprised that he hasn't shown up on Dynamite. If he had showed up on Dynamite, that would have been great, but he hasn't shown up on Dynamite at all. But let's get the women involved. Let the women walk through the door, and we could have some really good matches, and it could ultimately end with a title versus title match. Deonna Purrazzo, one-on-one with Britt Baker, title versus title. How cool would that be? How cool would that be? I mean, Deonna Purrazzo's got a huge match against in AAA against Fabi Apache, title versus title, and how cool is that? That's awesome. Lots of interest in that, and I'm sure Impact Wrestling will start to promote that after Slammiversary. But how cool would it be? Britt Baker, Deonna Purrazzo, and the history that they have together, the history they have with each other. It would just be an absolutely fantastic match. Don't know what they are waiting for. Let's just get it done. Okay. Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy is actually hinting on going to Impact Wrestling. This is Ringside News. This is ringsidenews.com. It says Buddy Murphy was one of the mainstays of 205 Live, where he put on excellent matches on a weekly basis. While speaking to Insight with Chris Van Vliet, Buddy Murphy talked about his career in the WWE. Murphy also was asked which pro wrestling company he might go to next, and he hinted at going to Impact Wrestling, adding that he's friends with Sami Callihan there. Buddy Murphy speaking, I'm excited for the possibility. I think I could do some great stuff in Impact Wrestling. I got great friends there like Sami Callihan. I'm pretty sure I wrestled like 9 dark matches on NXT with Callihan in a row. It's exciting, but it's an unknown. I have just under 2 months left, so we'll have to see what comes. I hope he could get out of his 90-day non-compete early. It'd be great to see him show up at Slammiversary, but that's unlikely. I think there was a whole thing. WWE called him up in a panic, trying to find out what his non-compete was. But his non-compete apparently is August 31st. From what I was reading. But I would love to see Buddy Murphy in Impact Wrestling. I think Buddy Murphy would be an absolute top star in Impact Wrestling. And I'm just thinking of one match that's in my head right now. Buddy Murphy against Josh Alexander would be just fantastic. Buddy Murphy against Moose would be just tremendous as well. Buddy Murphy against Sami Callihan, who we mentioned here, would be great. I think Buddy Murphy could be the Impact Wrestling World Champion. I would love Buddy Murphy in Impact Wrestling, and it's awesome to see him showing interest at going to Impact Wrestling. He could definitely be a top star, as I said, in Impact Wrestling. If he goes to AEW, he might get lost in the shuffle. They're doing a lot of signing there. I don't know if they're going to want to sign Buddy Murphy. I know they want to sign Braun Strowman. There's other talent I think that they want to sign. Love to see Buddy Murphy end up in Impact Wrestling. I think there's a very good chance that Buddy Murphy will be on the Impact Wrestling roster after his 90-day non-compete expires. Again, we'll love to see it. Lots of great potential matches there. Actually, he's already booked for his first match, his first post WWE match, and he's taking on Brian Cage. I'm not sure of the promotion. Do I have that info? Yep. Okay, here it is. It's He will be facing Brian Cage. Doesn't specify. Oh, yeah, Battleground Championship Wrestling, September 18th at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. So Buddy Murphy one-on-one with Brian Cage. AEW's Brian Cage should be a great, great match. But very, very thrilled, very happy to see Buddy Murphy showing interest in Impact Wrestling again. We'll love to see him there again, there's a lot of great matchups for him in Impact Wrestling. As I mentioned, Josh Alexander, Moose, Sammy Callahan, um, Matt Cardona, Brian Myers. Lots of great, great potential matchups for him in Impact Wrestling. And I can see him with the Impact Wrestling World Championship. So Buddy Murphy will love to see in Impact Wrestling. Hopefully they can get the job done. Hopefully they could get the job done. Another group that I would love to see in Impact Wrestling, I think would be a great feud. I would love to see the Iconics. And I know I mentioned this, that the Iconics, now known as the Inspiration, I would love to see them come in and feud with Fire and Flavor. I think that would be a great, great feud. We'll love to see at Slammiversary if the Iconics or the Inspiration show up and confront Fire and Flavor. I don't think Fire and Flavor are going to lose the tag titles at Slammiversary. We'll love to see the Iconics show up and confront Fire and Flavor because I think they would have a absolutely tremendous, tremendous feud for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts title. And I think the feud could last for a while. It will be a very entertaining feud, and hopefully we will get that in Impact Wrestling as well. Last but not least, Mickie James announces today the NWA Women's Invitational Tournament. It says Mickie James wants to find the top female talent. The National Wrestling Alliance held a press conference today to promote the upcoming NWA Empower and NWA 73 events on August 28th and 29th. During the press conference, Mickie James announced that the NWA will hold the first ever Women's Invitational. James mentioned that the promotion is looking for the top women in the industry, the up-and-coming women, the rising talent that we will see as the future prospects of the women in the industry. One name that I want to mention, Alexia Nicole. Alexia Nicole. Mickie James, contact Alexia Nicole ASAP. And it says the winner of the tournament will face NWA Women's Champion, the NWA Women's Champion at NWA 73. Camille is the reigning NWA Women's Champion. So it's the first ever NWA Women's Invitational, and the winner of that tournament will face Camille at NWA 73, the 73rd anniversary of NWA. So that's huge, huge news. It says here, Tootie Lynn was named as the first participant for the tournament. Not familiar with Tootie Lynn. I apologize, but she is the first name. She was named as the first participant for the tournament. Alexia Nicole. Mickie James. Alexia Nicole. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for listening to me today. I'm Lewis Carlin. This is the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network podcast. And until next time, thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye. Stay safe, everyone. So long. Bye-bye.